My name is Nora Townsend. I'm 29 years old. 3 days ago, my family called to tell me not to come home for New Year's Eve. You'll just make everyone uncomfortable, my mother said, her voice calm and decisive, like she was rejecting a business deal. So on December 31st, I sat alone in my small studio apartment in Cambridge, watching strangers celebrate through my window while my family raised champagne glasses in their mansion in Greenwich, without me. At exactly 12:01 a.m. my phone rang. Ryan. My brother's voice trembled. Nora, what did you do? Dad just saw the news, he's not breathing right. Mom's screaming. What the hell did you do? The news he was talking about? My company, Neural Thread Incorporated, had gone public at midnight with a valuation of $2.1 billion, making me one of the youngest female tech billionaires in America. But the money wasn't the real shock. It was what I revealed in the Forbes interview that went live at the same moment. 3 years of emails, patents, and recordings proving that my own brother had tried to steal my work. Before I tell you what happened that night, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story truly resonates with you. And if you're watching, drop a comment telling me where you're from and what time it is there. I'd love to know who's listening. Now let me take you back to where it all began. 3 years earlier, the Townsend family wasn't just wealthy. We were old money legacy, Greenwich, Connecticut royalty. The kind of family that came with a 40-year-old medical device company, a mansion with marble columns, and an expectation that you'd know which fork to use at charity galas before you turned 10. Ryan, my older brother by 5 years, was born for that world. Charming without effort. The type of man who could enter a room and make everyone feel seen. Tom Ford suits looked casual on him. He played golf with investors. He was everything my parents wanted in an heir. I was different. I preferred code over cocktail parties. I got into MIT for computer science. My parents smiled for the acceptance photos, but I overheard my mother tell a friend, "It's just a phase. She'll grow out of it and do something practical." When I graduated top of my class, specializing in AI-driven medical diagnostics, my family didn't attend the ceremony. They were at Ryan's charity golf tournament instead. Ryan needs us there for networking, sweetie. You understand, my mother said. And I did. I understood when I moved into a cramped Cambridge studio with roommates while Ryan lived in a Back Bay penthouse. I understood when family dinners turned into strategy meetings about Townsend Industries' quarterly reports, while I sat quietly pushing food around fine Wedgwood china. I understood when my father introduced Ryan to business partners as the future of the company, and introduced me as our daughter who does computers. In my family, charm mattered more than brilliance. Tradition mattered more than innovation. And Ryan mattered more than me. I just didn't know how much more until 3 years ago. In March 2022, I was working on something revolutionary. Not just impressive research, something that could change medicine itself. My 2 MIT co-founders and I had developed an algorithm capable of analyzing medical imaging faster and more accurately than any existing system. Early detection for diseases that usually killed patients before doctors even knew what to look for. We called it Neural Thread because it wove neural networks together in a way no one had done before. We were months from beta testing. Investor meetings were scheduled. Everything was aligning. Then my mother called. Nora, we need to talk about Ryan. Her tone told me it wasn't a request. Townsend Industries is going through a difficult quarter. Your brother is under tremendous pressure. The family needs you to help. I explained that I was in the middle of critical development. That my startup was at a fragile stage. Startup? She repeated, like the word tasted unpleasant. Nora, startups are for people with nothing to lose. You have a legacy. A family company that's lasted 40 years. Ryan needs support. And you're sitting in that little apartment playing with computers. To her, my life's work was a hobby. Ryan's career was destiny. But MIT had taught me something my mother never understood. Protect your intellectual property before someone else claims it. So before agreeing to anything, I met James Kirby, an IP lawyer specializing in tech startups. We sat in Flower Bakery in Cambridge, my laptop open between us as he guided me through the documents. If anyone ever tries to claim your work, James said, sliding the patent application toward me, we'll have a paper trail that no lawyer can break. I filed the patent on March 15, 2022. Every line of code, every algorithm, every iteration, all time-stamped, all legally mine. I didn't plan to use it. I just wanted insurance. Then I agreed to consult for Ryan. Family obligation, my mother called it. I drove to Townsend Industries headquarters in Stamford. A glass tower with our family name in brushed steel above the entrance. Ryan's office was on the top floor. Corner view. Walls lined with framed awards and a black and white portrait of our grandfather. Nora. He hugged me like we were close. We weren't. Thanks for coming. This means everything. I explained basic concepts of AI integration into diagnostics. Not my core algorithm, but enough to show potential. He took notes on a yellow legal pad, nodding eagerly. This is exactly what we need, he said. Investors are going to love this. 2 weeks later, he invited me to a pitch meeting with a Boston venture capital firm. I sat at the back of a conference room, walnut table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. As Ryan presented my ideas, my research, my framework. Townsend Industries is pioneering artificial intelligence in medical device manufacturing, he said, clicking through slides I had never seen before. We're positioned to revolutionize early diagnostics. One investor glanced at me. And you are? Ryan smiled smoothly. That's my sister Nora. She's been helping with some technical research. Helping? As if I were his assistant. After the meeting, Ryan handed me a document. Just a standard NDA, he said. To protect the family business. You understand. I read it. A non-disclosure agreement covering all proprietary information related to Townsend Industries. This protects me too, right? I asked. Of course, he smiled. We're family, Nora. We protect each other. I signed, because I still believed family meant something. Thanksgiving 2023. The dining room looked like a magazine spread. Long table, grandmother's Wedgwood china, crystal glasses reflecting chandelier light, white roses and eucalyptus running down the center. 12 guests. Business partners. Family friends. A couple who had just funded a hospital wing. My mother seated me at the far end beside my father's golf buddy's wife, who spent the entire appetizer talking about her Pilates instructor. When the main course arrived, turkey on silver platters, sides in matching serving dishes, my mother stood to introduce everyone. Most of you know my son Ryan, she announced proudly. CEO of Townsend Industries. We're so proud of what he's building. He's just closed a partnership with a major hospital network. Applause. Ryan lifted his glass with a humble smile. And this is our daughter, Nora, my mother continued, her voice cooling slightly. She works in technology. Very bright, but not much for socializing. A few polite smiles. A silver-haired man in a blazer leaned forward. Technology? What kind? I opened my mouth to answer, but Ryan cut in. Nora's still figuring out her path. He laughed lightly. She's brilliant with computers, just not great with people. The table laughed. Polite. Dismissive. My face burned. I stared at the perfectly carved turkey I suddenly couldn't eat. After dinner, my mother pulled me into the kitchen. Nora, I know you don't mean to, but you make people uncomfortable. You barely said a word in there. Try to be warmer. I didn't get a chance to speak, I said. I'm not criticizing, sweetheart. I'm helping. People like warmth. They like energy. You're so, she sighed heavily. I left before dessert. In June 2024, Ryan called me into his office. And that's where everything finally broke. Emergency meeting, he said. I drove down on a Tuesday morning. Ryan's assistant waved me through. By now she recognized me. Ryan stood by the window, hands in his pockets, staring out at the water. When he turned toward me, something in his expression had changed. Tense. Calculated. We need the full algorithm, Nora. I blinked. What? The AI diagnostic tool. The one you've been developing. We need it for Townsend Industries. Investors are pulling back and we need a breakthrough. This could save the company. Ryan, that isn't Townsend Industries' work. That's my startup. My startup. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Nora, you've been consulting for us. You signed an NDA. Everything you've worked on in relation to our business belongs to the company. That's not how NDAs work. Don't tell me how they work. His voice sharpened. I'm trying to save our family's legacy. Don't you care about that? Before I could answer, the office door opened. My mother walked in, heels clicking against the hardwood. She'd clearly been waiting nearby. Nora. She sat in one of Ryan's leather chairs and crossed her legs calmly. Your brother is right. You signed an agreement. You have a legal obligation. The NDA covers Townsend Industries' proprietary information, I said slowly. It doesn't cover my personal projects. Personal projects developed while consulting for us, Ryan shot back. That's a conflict of interest. My mother's expression turned cold as glass. Nora, don't make this a legal issue. Family doesn't sue family. Give Ryan the algorithm, and we can all move forward. I looked at them, my brother, my mother, both staring at me like I was the obstacle in their way. No, I said. Ryan's face flushed. Careful, Nora. You don't want to make this ugly. I left, but not before pressing the voice memo button on my phone inside my pocket. Massachusetts is a one-party consent state. After that meeting, the invitations stopped. There was no dramatic confrontation, no official announcement, just silence. The weekly emails from my mother's assistant. Dinner this Sunday, 6 p.m. Simply stopped coming. Instead, I saw Ryan's Instagram. Photos of family gatherings I hadn't been at. Captions like great night with the family. My parents. Ryan. His girlfriend. Even distant cousins I barely knew. I wasn't in any of them. My MIT friends noticed. Everything okay with your family? My old roommate asked over coffee. You haven't mentioned them in months. What was I supposed to say? That I'd been erased? That I was being punished for refusing to hand over 3 years of my work? I tried calling my father once. He picked up on the fourth ring, distracted. Dad, what's going on? Why am I not being invited? He sighed. Your mother and Ryan are under a lot of stress. The company is struggling. Maybe it's better if you give everyone some space. Space from what? I haven't done anything. You refused to help your brother after everything this family has given you. Everything this family has given me. Something cracked in my chest. You didn't come to my MIT graduation. You haven't asked about my work in 5 years. What exactly have you given me? Silence. Then, I think you should apologize to your mother and Ryan. When you're ready to be part of this family again, let us know. He hung up. I sat in my car outside MIT's campus, watching students pass by with backpacks and coffee cups. And I realized something, that I'd been erased. Not by strangers. Not by enemies. But by the people who were supposed to love me. On December 20th, 2024, my mother called. I almost didn't answer. Nora, she said, skipping any greeting. I wanted to let you know Christmas this year will be family only. I waited as the meaning settled slowly. You're asking me not to come. I'm suggesting it might be better for everyone if you didn't. Ryan is bringing important clients. It's a crucial time for the company, and we need the atmosphere to be positive. And I'm not positive? You're angry, Nora. We can feel it. You make people uncomfortable. My energy is my energy, I laughed sharply. Mom, I haven't seen you in 6 months. How would you know what my energy is? I'm trying to protect you, she said, and she almost sounded like she believed it. You'll be miserable here. You hate these gatherings anyway. Isn't it better to skip it this year? You're uninviting me from Christmas. I'm giving you an out, she said, voice hardening. Take it gracefully, Nora. I hung up. I sat in my 500-square-foot Cambridge studio, staring at the small fake Christmas tree I'd bought from Target. The string lights across the window. The empty space where family was supposed to be. Then I opened my laptop. An email waited from Forbes. Subject: IPO feature request. Miss Townsend, we understand Neural Thread Incorporated is preparing to go public in Q4 2024. We'd like to feature you in our 30 Under 30 Tech Innovator series and cover your IPO announcement. We're particularly interested in your journey as a female founder in AI. Would you be available for an interview? I read it 3 times. Then I hit reply. Yes, and I have a story you're going to want to hear. December 28th, my mother called again. Nora, about New Year's Eve. Ryan is hosting investors, potential partners, and some important people from Boston Medical. It's essentially a business event. Okay. So I wanted to make sure we're clear. This isn't a family party. It's professional. You understand what I'm saying? You don't want me there. I don't want anyone there who might create tension. Ryan is under enormous pressure. His entire career depends on these relationships. If I showed up and said something, told the truth, she went quiet. When she spoke again, her voice was ice cold. Don't come, Nora. For everyone's sake, just stay away. Don't worry, I said. I will. I hung up. I stood in my tiny kitchen, barely room for one person, and looked at my calendar. December 31st. Empty. No plans. No invitations. No family. I thought about calling friends, but they all had plans, parties, dinners, trips, normal people doing normal things with people who wanted them around. So I opened my laptop instead. The Forbes interview was scheduled to go live at midnight on January 1st, 2025. The writer had spent 3 weeks verifying everything. Patent documents. Email chains. The recording from Ryan's office. Testimony from Dr. Elena Martinez, my MIT professor who had watched me build the algorithm from scratch. James Kirby reviewed every word. You're legally protected, he told me. The NDA doesn't cover your personal IP. Everything you're revealing is documented and true. They can't touch you. The article was ready. TechCrunch had a companion piece set to publish at 12:01 a.m. My company's IPO announcement was queued. All I had to do was let it happen. I looked at the clock. December 28th. 9:47 p.m. 3 days until my family's perfect New Year's Eve party. 3 days until the truth went public. I said one word out loud to my empty apartment. Good. December 31st, 2024. 11 p.m. I sat on my couch in the dark, laptop open, Instagram pulled up on my phone. Ryan's story. The mansion lit like a luxury resort. White lights wrapped around every column. A string quartet in the foyer. Guests in cocktail attire holding champagne flutes, laughing. My mother in a black Armani gown holding court. My father in a tuxedo shaking hands with men wearing watches worth more than my car. Ryan at the center, confident, charming, toasting with someone I recognized from the business pages. A hospital CEO. A major investor. No one noticed I wasn't there. No one asked. Through my window, I watched strangers in the park setting off fireworks. Couples kissing. Friends counting down together. I was alone, not just physically but existentially. I refreshed my email. The Forbes article was staged and ready. Publish time. 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 6 minutes away. I opened the draft one more time. Neural Thread Incorporated goes public at a $2.1 billion valuation. Founder Nora Townsend reveals family betrayal. Email evidence shows brother attempted IP theft. Screenshots. Timestamps. The recorded conversation from June, transcribed, verified. Dr. Martinez's statement. I can confirm Nora Townsend developed this algorithm independently during her graduate work and subsequent private research. Any claims to the contrary are factually false. James Kirby's legal analysis. The NDA signed by Ms. Townsend pertains only to Townsend Industries' existing proprietary information. It does not and cannot extend to her independent work. My cursor hovered over the browser tab. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. I glanced at my phone. Ryan's Instagram story updated. Everyone lifted their glasses. 3, 2, 1. Fireworks burst outside my window. I refreshed the Forbes page. The article went live. 11:59 p.m. I watched the seconds tick by as the homepage reloaded. Then my face appeared on the screen. A professional portrait, serious expression. Headline. Neural Thread Incorporated goes public at a $2.1 billion valuation. Founder reveals family betrayal. A second later my phone buzzed. TechCrunch notification. MIT graduate becomes youngest female AI billionaire. Accuses brother of IP theft. Twitter ignited. Notifications stacked faster than I could read. The hashtag neural threads began trending. On TV, crowds in Times Square screamed with joy. Confetti rained down. Couples kissed. People cried and celebrated. My apartment remained still. For exactly 60 seconds my phone stayed silent. Then everything hit at once. Text messages flooded in. Unknown numbers. Journalists. Former colleagues. MIT classmates I hadn't spoken to in years. My inbox crashed, recovered. Then filled again. Email after email. Forbes writer, it's live. Prepare yourself. James Kirby, you're legally clear. Do not respond to anyone before speaking to me. Dr. Martinez. Nora, I'm so proud of you. Call me if you need anything. I sat in the quiet of my apartment, hands trembling, thinking about my family 2 hours away. Imagining the moment someone at that party would check their phone, see the headline, interrupt the champagne and laughter to say, my phone just rang. My phone lit up again. Ryan, 12:01 a.m. I watched it vibrate against the coffee table before answering. Hello, Ryan. Nora. His voice shook. Behind him, chaos. Raised voices. Someone crying. Glass clinking. What did you do? Dad just saw the news, he's not breathing right. Mom screaming. What the hell did you do? I kept my voice steady. I went public. My company. My work. Your company? He was shouting now. You signed an NDA. You can't just, this is defamation. This is. Mom wants to talk to you. His voice moved away then returned. You put our private conversations in Forbes. You recorded us. I documented the truth. The truth. He laughed, wild and bitter. You twisted emails. You made it look like I stole from you when I was only trying to help the family business. Ryan, I said quietly, closing my eyes. The patent was filed 4 months before your first investor pitch. The timestamps don't lie. That's coincidence. People work on similar ideas all the time. Not with identical frameworks. Not with the exact terminology from my research notes. Behind him, I heard my mother's shrill voice. Is that her? Give me the phone. You've destroyed us, Ryan said, his voice cracking. Investors are calling. They're pulling out. The board is furious. Do you understand what you've done? You've killed this company. You've killed our family. No, Ryan. You did that when you tried to erase me. You called me your assistant. You told investors I was just helping with research I created. You demanded I hand over my algorithm and threatened me when I refused. That's not help. That's theft. The NDA. The NDA doesn't cover my personal IP. Ask your lawyers. Or read the Forbes article. James Kirby explained it clearly. Silence. Then a click. He hung up. My phone rang again immediately. My mother. I answered. But before I tell you that conversation, you need to understand how I got here. 6 months earlier, July 2024. I sat in Tat Bakery near MIT with Dr. Elena Martinez, my former professor and thesis advisor. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, direct. A professor who didn't waste time on small talk. Award-winning in neural network architecture. When she asked to meet, I came. Your algorithm is exceptional, Nora, she said, stirring her coffee. I've reviewed the papers you sent. This is publishable. Career-defining. Why are you sitting on it? So I told her everything. The family pressure. Fendi. Ryan's demands. The slow erasure from family life. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she set down her cup. An NDA cannot steal your intellectual property if you never gave it to them. You filed the patent under your name, correct? Yes. March 2022. Before Ryan ever asked? Yes. Then you're protected. But you need documentation, emails, recordings, anything that proves timeline and ownership. If this escalates, evidence must speak for itself. I have it, I said quietly. I've kept records from the beginning. Good. She leaned forward. But understand this. Silence protects abusers. You think you're keeping peace. You're not. You're letting them write the story. But if I speak up, you'll face consequences. Your family will be angry. Some people won't understand. But you'll have your integrity. You'll have your work. And you'll show young women in STEM, they don't have to disappear to keep others comfortable. She opened her laptop. I'll go on record. If you tell your story, I'll verify every part of your research. I'll testify to the timeline, originality, all of it. Documentation protects you. Witnesses make it undeniable. I left that meeting with a half-made decision and a recorder full of truth. September 2024. Sand Hill Road, Palo Alto. My 2 co-founders and I sat across from a venture capital firm specializing in healthcare tech. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Silicon Valley. Modern furniture. A wall covered in startup logos they'd funded. The partner, mid-40s, Stanford MBA, sharp suit, leaned back in his chair. Your neural technology is strong. Early trials look impressive. We're ready to back your IPO. What's your timeline? I glanced at my co-founders. Q4 2024, I said. Ideally around New Year. New Year. He frowned. That's unconventional. Markets slow during the holidays. Why not February or March when institutional investors return? I chose my words carefully. There's a personal milestone I want the announcement to align with. A statement I need to make. A statement. His interest sharpened. Explain. Family issues. Intellectual property disputes. I want the IPO to go public at a moment when the truth needs to be told. My co-founder lightly touched my arm, caution. But I continued. I want to include a personal statement in the IPO announcement about the origins of this technology, the challenges of protecting it, and why independent verification of ownership matters in tech. The room went quiet. The partner exchanged looks with his colleagues. That's highly unusual. IPO announcements focus on financials. I understand. But if we're valuing this company at nearly $2 billion, the public deserves the full story, including attempts to steal it. Steal it? He leaned forward. You're alleging IP theft? I'm documenting it. Patents. Emails. Recordings. Expert witnesses. Legal verification. If anyone challenges ownership, I can prove this work is mine. He studied me for a long moment. Send me the documentation, he said finally. If it's as airtight as you claim, we'll structure the announcement the way you want. We shook hands. I was building a bomb. I just needed the right moment to detonate it. November 2024, Zoom interview with Forbes. The journalist was professional, early 30s, known for hard-hitting tech reporting. She had spent 2 weeks fact-checking before we spoke. Nora, your company is about to go public at a valuation that will make you one of the youngest female billionaires in tech. But you've indicated you want to discuss something beyond success. Can you explain? I took a breath. 3 years ago, my brother, CEO of Townsend Industries, attempted to claim my algorithm as his company's intellectual property. I have documentation proving I developed this technology independently, filed patents under my name, and was pressured to hand it over. When I refused, I was erased from my family. These are serious allegations, she said carefully. Not skeptical, precise. What evidence do you have? I shared my screen. Patent filing March 2022. Emails from Ryan requesting collaboration, then demanding the algorithm, then threatening legal action. The NDA, and James Kirby's legal analysis proving it didn't cover my personal work. The June 2024 recording. Dr. Martinez's written statement. The journalist scrolled silently through the documents. We'll need independent verification, she said at last. Authentication. Legal review. Expert testimony. I've arranged it, I said. James Kirby will provide legal analysis. Dr. Martinez will confirm the research timeline. My co-founders will testify to the development process. She nodded. And you're prepared for the fallout? This will be public, the journalist said. Your family will respond. It could get ugly. I thought about Christmas, about being uninvited, about sitting alone while they celebrated without me. I'm not seeking revenge, I said quietly. I'm seeking recognition for my work, and for every woman whose family tried to erase them. I've been silenced long enough. She nodded slowly. When do you want this published? January 1st, 2025. Midnight. The exact moment my IPO goes public. That's bold. It's necessary. She closed her notebook. If everything checks out, we'll run it. But Nora, once this is out, you can't take it back. I know, I said. That's the point. This is the part where everything shifts. If you've made it this far, you're part of this journey. Drop a comment if you've ever had to stand up for your truth, even when it hurt. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next part is where the real confrontation happens. Now let me take you back to New Year's Eve. My mother was calling. I answered. Hello, Mom. Nora. Her voice was controlled fury, ice wrapped in silk. What you've done is unforgivable. I documented the truth. You humiliated this family in front of the world. Do you understand what you've done? Ryan's investors are calling. They're pulling funding. The board is demanding emergency meetings. Your father, he can't even speak right now. That's not my responsibility. Not your responsibility? Her voice cracked just slightly. You destroyed your brother's reputation. You made us look like monsters. You violated the NDA. No, Mom. I didn't. The NDA covers Townsend Industries' proprietary information. It doesn't cover my personal work. James Kirby made sure of that. We will sue you. We will take everything. You'll lose. I kept my voice steady, professional. And it'll all be public. Every filing, every deposition, every piece of evidence becomes part of the court record. Do you really want that? Silence. You've destroyed Ryan's career, she said finally. Investors are walking away. Business partners are cutting ties. All because you decided to air family business to the entire world. No, Mom. Ryan destroyed his career when he tried to steal my work. I just made sure the world knew the truth. The truth. She laughed bitterly. The truth is you were always jealous of Ryan. You couldn't stand that he was successful, respected, and liked. You couldn't stand that he mattered more. The truth, I interrupted, is that you spent my entire life making me feel like I didn't matter. That my work wasn't real. That I was an inconvenience. And when I finally built something that couldn't be ignored, you tried to take it away. You're delusional. I have timestamps, Mom. Patents. Emails. Recordings. The truth isn't a feeling. It's documentation. Another silence. Then she said, cold and final, you are no longer part of this family. Something loosened in my chest. Relief. Grief. Freedom. I haven't been part of this family for years, I said quietly. You made sure of that. I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. Miss Townsend? This is David Park from TechCrunch. Do you have a moment? A journalist. Of course. I'm aware of the article published this morning, he said. We've received a statement from Townsend Industries. They deny your allegations. They claim you're disgruntled and seeking attention. Would you like to respond? I walked to the window. Fireworks were still bursting over Cambridge. Strangers celebrating while my family imploded 2 hours south. I stand by everything in the Forbes article, I said. I have documentation any independent party can verify. Patent filings from March 2022. Email chains showing the timeline. Expert testimony from Dr. Elena Martinez at MIT. Legal analysis from Intellectual Property Counsel. If Townsend Industries wants to dispute the facts, they're welcome to try. Your brother claims the similarities between his presentations and your patent are coincidental. How do you respond? My patent was filed 4 months before his first investor pitch. The framework, terminology, and architecture are identical. Coincidence doesn't explain that. Copying does. There's speculation this will impact Townsend Industries' funding and partnerships. Any comment? I paused, thinking about the employees, people uninvolved in Ryan's decisions. My goal wasn't to harm the company. It was to protect my work. But actions have consequences. If investors walk away over ethical concerns, that's their choice. One more question. Do you regret going public? No, I said. I regret that it was necessary. I hung up. I opened Twitter. Hashtag neural thread was trending. Number 3 nationally. Comments poured in. This is why women in tech must document everything. Her brother really thought he could steal her work and get away with it. Townsend Industries is finished. No one wants to work with IP thieves. But also, she destroyed her family for money. Disgusting. Family issues should stay private. This is vindictive. I closed the app. Let them think whatever they wanted. The truth was out. That was enough that I didn't sleep. At 6 a.m. January 1, 2025, I gave up trying. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and stared at the avalanche. 247 missed calls. 512 emails. Thousands of notifications that I started reading. Dr. Martinez. Nora, you were so brave. I'm proud of you. Call me when you're ready. James Kirby. Townsend Industries lawyers contacted me at 2 a.m. threatening defamation and NDA claims. I've sent our legal analysis. They have no case. You're fully protected. Co-founder. Holy hell, Nora. CNBC wants an interview. Bloomberg too. What do we say? MIT Alumni Association. We'd like to feature you in our newsletter as an example of protecting IP and standing up for yourself. But there were others too. A distant cousin. How could you do this to your family? Do you know what you've done to your mother? An old family friend. I've known the Townsends for 30 years. They're good people. You're destroying their reputation for attention. A stranger. You're a disgrace. Family comes first. I read them all. Let them wash over me. Then I reopened the positive ones. A woman I'd never met. I'm a software engineer. My boss took credit for my code for 2 years. I stayed silent because I was scared. Your story gave me the courage to file a complaint. Thank you. Another. I've been hiding my startup from my family because they don't think it's real work. After reading about you, I'm going public. You gave me permission to exist. Another. My father told me I'd never be as successful as my brother. I'm sending him the Forbes article. I sat back. Overwhelmed, exhausted, but for the first time in years, maybe my entire life, I felt seen. Not by my family. By thousands of people who understood exactly what I'd lived through. I wasn't alone anymore. By 10 a.m. Ryan held a press conference. I watched live on YouTube, laptop propped on my kitchen counter, coffee going cold in my hand. He stood at a podium in the Townsend Industries conference room, the same room where he'd once presented my ideas as his own. Behind him, company logo, flashing cameras, journalists filling the room. He looked terrible. Rumpled suit, no tie, red-rimmed eyes. Thank you for coming, he began, voice rough. I want to address the allegations made by my sister, Nora Townsend, in this morning's Forbes article. He cleared his throat and read from prepared notes. My sister is going through a difficult time. We love her. We've always supported her. But her allegations are baseless and hurtful. Townsend Industries has always respected intellectual property law. We have never stolen anyone's work. A journalist raised her hand. Can you explain the timeline discrepancy? Her patent was filed in March 2022. Your first investor presentation using similar technology was July 2022. How do you account for that? Ryan shifted. Many people work on similar ideas simultaneously. The tech industry is collaborative. Ideas overlap. Another journalist interrupted. But the Forbes article includes emails where you specifically asked her for the full diagnostic AI framework. How do you explain that? How is that an overlap? A journalist pressed. Those emails say we need your algorithm. What context makes that anything other than a request for her proprietary work? Ryan's face flushed. I was trying to collaborate with my sister, to bring her into the family business. She's interpreting it incorrectly. Another reporter cut in. She also published a recording of a June 2024 meeting, where you threatened legal action if she continued her independent work. Can you comment on that? That recording was made without my knowledge. Massachusetts is a one-party consent state, the journalist replied. The recording is legal. What about its content? Did you threaten her? Ryan's grip tightened around the podium. This press conference is over. He walked off. Cameras kept rolling. Within 2 hours, the clip was everywhere. Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. CEO melts down when questioned about IP theft. Watch tech exec collapse under evidence. My phone buzzed. Dr. Martinez. He buried himself. You didn't even have to be there. She was right. I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself the moment he lied on camera. By 4 p.m., Townsend Industries released a statement. I read it on my couch, still wearing last night's clothes. The board of directors has voted to suspend CEO Ryan Townsend, pending an independent investigation into allegations regarding intellectual property practices. An outside firm has been retained to conduct a full review. It was signed by the board chair. Not my father. Not my mother. Someone independent. Ryan was suspended. Not fired yet, but stripped of power. My phone buzzed again. An email from a board member I'd never met. Miss Townsend, on behalf of the board, We regret any harm caused to you by the actions of Townsend Industries leadership. We are committed to a transparent investigation and would appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and your legal counsel. I forwarded it to James Kirby. He called 5 minutes later. This is good, Nora. They're distancing themselves from Ryan to protect the company. Now they investigate. If the evidence holds, and it will, they'll terminate him. And if they don't, investors will force their hand. I hung up and opened Twitter. A business reporter posted, 2 major investors have already withdrawn backing from Townsend Industries. More expected. Ryan Townsend's career may be over. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty, like winning a war I never wanted to fight. The next morning, January 2nd, my father called. I stared at his name through 3 rings before answering. Nora, he said. His voice sounded old. Broken. Can we talk? We are talking. No, really talk. He inhaled shakily. I owe you an apology. I stayed silent. I knew, he said. I knew something was wrong with Ryan's presentations. I suspected the technology was yours. And I said nothing. Because your mother was proud of him. Because the company was struggling. I told myself we'd get through 1 more quarter, 1 more funding round, and everything would settle. His voice cracked. I let you be erased. I let them push you out. I let them uninvite you from Christmas. From New Year's. I failed you. He was crying now. You're my daughter. I should have protected you. I was weak. And I am so sorry. Tears slid down my face. An apology doesn't give me back the years I spent believing I was the problem, I said quietly. I know. But I needed you to hear it. I am proud of you, Nora. I always have been. I just didn't know how to stand against your mother. Against Ryan. Against everyone. Silence. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, I said. But I'm glad you called. That's more than I deserve, he whispered. If you ever want to talk again, I'll do better. I'll believe it when I see it. Fair enough. We hung up. I cried, not from sadness, but because something I'd carried for years finally loosened. January 3rd. A LinkedIn message arrived from a stranger. Miss Townsend. My name is Marcus Williams, partner at Riverside Capital. In 2023, your brother pitched us an AI diagnostic tool he claimed was developed in-house at Townsend Industries. We passed. After reading Forbes, I believe it was your algorithm. I've attached the pitch deck. I thought you should see it. I opened the file. Townsend Industries. Revolutionary AI-driven diagnostics platform. August 2023. Slide 3 Core Technology Framework. It wasn't similar. It was identical. My architecture. My pipeline. Even my coin phrase. Threaded analysis nodes. He hadn't just tried to take my work. He tried to sell it. My hands shook as I sent it to James. He called instantly. This is massive. This isn't internal misuse. This is attempted external monetization of stolen IP. That's fraud. What do we do? Do you want criminal charges? I thought about Ryan already suspended. Ruined. Finished. No, I said. But I want this public. I'll send it to Forbes. The article went live that afternoon. New evidence shows Ryan Townsend attempted to sell sister's intellectual property to outside investors. The pitch deck was embedded. Side-by-side comparisons with my patent. Expert legal analysis. Comments exploded. This isn't family drama. This is theft. He didn't just steal, he tried to profit. How is he not in jail? I closed my laptop. The truth was doing the work for me now. January 4th. The fallout hit critical mass. Boston Medical Center cancels $15 million contract with Townsend Industries amid ethics scandal. I read it 3 times. Townsend Industries stock dropped 28% in 3 days. Analysts called it catastrophic loss of investor confidence. Employees posted online. Everyone's terrified. We don't know if the company will survive. Then an email arrived. From a Townsend Industries employee, Miss Townsend. I've worked here 8 years. I have 2 kids. I'm terrified of losing my job because of what your brother did. We had nothing to do with this. If there's anything you can do to help the company survive, please consider it. I stared at the message for 20 minutes. Engineers, admin staff, sales teams, people who never harmed me, Collateral damage in a war they didn't start. I felt sick. I picked up my phone and called James. The company is hemorrhaging, I said. Employees are terrified. What do? I asked. Nora, James said gently, you didn't cause this. Ryan did. You told the truth. And if the truth destroys something, that thing was already broken. You are not responsible for fixing what you didn't break. I wanted to believe him. But late that night, alone in my apartment, I kept thinking about the employees. Their families. The damage spreading far beyond the people who actually deserved it. I didn't want innocent people to suffer. But I also refused to let guilt silence me again. January 5th. An email from my mother. Nora, we need to meet face to face. Please. I didn't want to go. But curiosity, or maybe a small foolish sliver of hope, made me agree. We met at Thinking Cup in downtown Boston. Public. Neutral. Safe. She arrived in a black Burberry coat. Sunglasses on despite the overcast sky. Heels clicking sharply on the tile floor. She looked thinner. Older. She sat across from me and ordered nothing. Nora. She removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were red-rimmed. I'll admit Ryan made mistakes. Poor judgment. But what you've done is destroying the family business. Employees are losing jobs. Your father, he's not well. The stress is. Mom, I interrupted. Why am I here? She leaned forward. What do you want? Money? A position for Ryan at Neural Thread? A seat on the Townsend Industries board? Name your price and let's end this. I stared at her. You think I did this for money? What then? Revenge? Attention? You've made your point. Everyone knows you're successful. Now let's move forward. Move forward. I laughed hollowly. You want me to issue a retraction? A clarification, she corrected. Say the situation was complicated. That family dynamics were misunderstood. That you and Ryan have reconciled. We haven't reconciled. Then pretend. Her voice hardened. Do you understand what you're doing to us? To your father's legacy? To yourself? I met her eyes. You're worried about your reputation. About what your friends at the country club are saying. Don't be childish. I'm not being childish. I'm being clear. I will not retract the truth. I will not pretend this didn't happen. I will not disappear to make you comfortable. Then you're willing to destroy us. No, Mom. I'm willing to protect myself. And if that destroys you, maybe you should ask why protecting me was never a priority. She stood, put her sunglasses back on. You'll regret this. I already regret it, I said quietly. I regret that it was necessary. She walked out without another word. I sat alone, coffee untouched, and felt something settle in my chest. I wasn't going to save them. They had to save themselves. January 6. An email arrived that changed everything. Dear Ms. Townsend, on behalf of the Women in Tech Summit, we would like to invite you to be our keynote speaker at our annual gala on February 15, 2025 in Boston. Your story, standing up for your intellectual property, refusing to be silenced, and building a billion-dollar company against extraordinary personal obstacles, is exactly what our community needs to hear. We have over 200 attendees registered, including students, professionals, and industry leaders. We would be honored if you would share your experience. I read it twice. Then call Dr. Martinez. They want me to speak at a gala. 200 people. That's wonderful, Nora. I don't want to be defined by family drama. I don't want to be the woman whose brother stole her work. I want to be known for my algorithm, for my company, for me. Her voice softened. You are not defined by drama. You're defined by what you built, and by refusing to let anyone take it from you. That is the story. She paused. How many women do you think are sitting on their work right now because they're afraid? Because their families told them it doesn't matter? Because they don't want to make people uncomfortable? You're not just telling your story, she said. You're giving them permission to tell theirs. I thought about the hundreds of emails I'd received. Women who said my story gave them courage. Okay, I said. I'll do it. I started writing the speech that night. Not about revenge. Not about family dysfunction. But about boundaries. Documentation. The difference between keeping the peace and protecting integrity. The cost of disappearing. and the courage it takes to refuse. I wrote until 3 a.m., rewriting again and again, searching for words that were honest without being bitter. By the time I finished, I had a draft. Not perfect, but true. And I was learning that truth was the only thing that mattered. January 10th. A text from Ryan. Nora, can we talk? Not as CEO and founder, as brother and sister. I stared at it for 2 days. On January 12th, I called him. Nora, he said. He sounded exhausted. Thank you for calling. I didn't think you would. What do you want, Ryan? I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much I hurt you. I was so focused on saving the company, proving I could lead it, that I didn't think about what I was taking from you. You didn't realize? Or you didn't care? A long silence. Both, he admitted. I thought I was helping, bringing you into the family business, making your work part of something bigger. It was already part of something bigger. My company. My vision. You tried to erase that. I know, his voice cracked. And I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it with one conversation, I said. But if you want to start, really start, issue a public statement. Acknowledge what you did. Not because lawyers told you to. Not because the board demanded it. Because it's the truth. If I do that, the board will fire me permanently. Then you have a choice to make. Nora, please. You told investors my work was yours. You tried to sell my algorithm. You threatened me when I refused. Those weren't misunderstandings, Ryan. Those were choices. And if you want any chance at redemption, you need to own them. You're asking me to end my career. I'm asking you to tell the truth. What you do with that is up to you. He was quiet for a long time. I need to think. Take your time, I said. I'm not going anywhere. We hung up. I didn't know if he would do it, or if he even could. But I'd given him the roadmap. Whether he took it was no longer my responsibility. January 15th. Ryan posted a statement on LinkedIn and Twitter. I saw it at 9 a.m., sitting in a coffee shop in Cambridge, trying to work on Q1 projections for Neural Thread. I owe my sister Nora Townsend a public apology. Over the past 3 years, I attempted to claim credit for work that was entirely hers. I presented her algorithm to investors as if it had been developed by Townsend Industries. I pressured her to hand over her intellectual property. When she refused, I threatened legal action. I was wrong. Nora developed Neural Thread's core technology independently, filed patents in her own name, and built a company from the ground up. While I tried to take it from her, I violated her trust. I damaged her personally and professionally. I justified it by telling myself I was protecting the family business. That was a lie. I was protecting my ego. I am stepping down from all roles at Townsend Industries to allow an independent investigation. I hope in time to earn back trust. Not through words but through actions. But first I needed to say this. Nora, I'm sorry. You deserved support, recognition, and respect. Instead, I gave you betrayal. I hope you can forgive me someday. But I understand if you can't. I read it 3 times. The comments poured in. This took courage. Too little, too late. He only apologized because he got caught. At least he admitted it. Most never do. I didn't know what I felt. Not vindication. Not satisfaction. Relief maybe that he finally told the truth. An emptiness, because an apology couldn't give me back the years I'd spent believing I was the problem. I called Dr. Martinez. He apologized, I said. Publicly. How do you feel? I don't know. It doesn't fix everything, she said gently. But it's the first time he acknowledged your reality. And that matters. Yeah, I whispered. It does. January 20th. Townsend Industries released another statement. The board of directors announces that Richard Townsend, company founder, will return as interim CEO while the organization undergoes comprehensive restructuring. Ryan Townsend has resigned from all positions effective immediately. Townsend Industries is committed to restoring trust through transparency, ethical leadership, and a thorough review of intellectual property practices. An independent consulting firm has been retained to audit processes and implement stronger safeguards. We recognize that recent events have damaged our reputation and relationships. I read the statement once. Then again. Ryan was gone. My father was back in charge. The company was fighting to survive. And my story, my work was finally undeniably mine. We take full responsibility and are committed to meaningful change. The statement was signed by my father. He called me that afternoon. Nora, I wanted you to hear this from me. I've returned as interim CEO. Just until we stabilize. Are you okay, Dad? This is a lot of stress. I'm fine. And I owe this to the company. To the employees. He paused. To you. I let things fall apart. I'm going to fix them. What's the plan? Full ethics review. New policies on intellectual property, credit, collaboration. Transparency reports. We're bringing in a DEI consultant to assess company culture. To make sure what happened to you never happens again. That's good, I said quietly. Nora, I know I can't undo what happened. But I'm trying. Really trying. I know, Dad. He hesitated. Would you consider consulting for us? Not on technology, on policy. On building a culture where brilliant, innovative people feel valued instead of erased. I thought about walking back into that building. Helping the company that once tried to erase me. Maybe, I said. Someday. But not yet. That's fair. The door is open whenever you're ready. We hung up. I didn't know if I'd ever be ready. But I appreciated that he asked, and that he didn't pressure me when I said no. February 15, 2025. Boston Convention Center. I stood backstage at the Women in Tech Gala, listening to 1,200 people settle into their seats. A massive venue. Bright stage lights. Giant screens. Round tables stretching across the hall. Dr. Martinez found me in the green room. You ready? No, I smoothed my simple black dress. Nothing flashy. What if I freeze? You won't, she said. You're just telling your story. The MC's voice echoed through the hall. Please welcome our keynote speaker. Nora Townsend, founder and CEO of Neural Thread Incorporated. Applause rolled through the room. I walked onto the stage. Lights blinding. Faces reduced to silhouettes. 1,200 women watching me. I took a breath and began. For most of my life, I was told I made people uncomfortable. Too quiet. Too focused. Too different. I didn't fit the mold my family wanted. So I believed the problem was me. Silence. Complete attention. I spent years shrinking. Making myself smaller. Making my work smaller, so others wouldn't feel threatened by it. And when my family tried to erase my work completely, I almost let them. Because I was more afraid of conflict than I was of disappearing. I paused, looking into the dark sea of faces. But then I realized something. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was surrounded by people who couldn't see my value. Applause began. Scattered. Then louder. When my family tried to take my work, I had two choices. Stay silent to keep the peace. Or speak up to keep my integrity. I chose integrity not to hurt anyone, but because I refused to disappear. The applause grew. Some women stood. To every woman here who's been told to shrink, to be quieter, to take up less space, your work matters. Your voice matters. And no one, not even family, has the right to take that from you. The room rose in a standing ovation. I looked out at them, women who understood. Who had chosen themselves even when it cost them everything. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Freedom. After the gala, I returned to my apartment and opened my laptop. Messages had started arriving during the speech. By the time I got home, there were hundreds. Your story gave me the courage to report my boss for taking credit for my research. I filed a complaint today. I've been hiding my startup from my family for 2 years. I'm launching publicly next week. You gave me permission. My father told me I'd never be as successful as my brother. I'm sending him the Forbes article in your speech. I left a toxic job because of you. I documented everything. They tried to claim I violated my NDA. My lawyer proved them wrong. I'm free. I'm 19. I just declared computer science. My parents wanted something practical. I'm doing this anyway because you showed me I could. I read every message. Some made me cry. Some made me laugh. All of them made me realize I wasn't just telling my story. I was part of something bigger. A movement of women who refused to disappear. I replied to as many as I could. Document everything. Protect your work. Set boundaries. Your voice matters. Use it. Late that night, Dr. Martinez texted, "You did good, Nora. Really good." I looked around my small apartment, no longer lonely, just mine, and typed back, "I think I finally believe that." March 2025. I moved to San Francisco, not because I was running away, because I was running towards something. Neural Thread's main office was in the Mission District, bright open space, whiteboards covering every wall, a team that valued collaboration over hierarchy. I found a small apartment near Dolores Park. 1 bedroom, bay windows, old hardwood floors. Nothing fancy but mine. I spent the weekend unpacking, setting up my desk, laptop, monitor, the framed patent certificate James Kirby had given me. I hung photos. Dr. Martinez and me at my MIT graduation. My co-founders at the IPO. A candid shot from the Women in Tech Gala. No photos of my family. Not yet. Maybe not ever. And I didn't feel guilty. On Sunday evening I called my father. "Dad, I moved to San Francisco this weekend." "San Francisco?" He sounded wistful. "That's far. It's where the company is." "I know. I just hoped you might come back east someday." "Maybe someday," I said. "But not yet." "Fair enough. If I want to visit, would that be okay?" "Not now." Pause. "I know you need space. But someday." I thought about him. Flawed. Passive. But trying. "Call me first," I said. "Don't just show up. And Dad, if you come, it's because you want to know me. Not to fix the family. I want to know you," he said quietly. "I should have wanted that a long time ago." "Yeah," I said. "You should have. I'll call before I visit. I promise." We hung up. I stood at my window looking out at the park, the city lights, the life I was building from scratch. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged to myself. June 2025. Neural Thread announced a partnership that changed everything. We held a press conference in our San Francisco office. Small. Intimate. Just our team and a handful of journalists. I stood with my co-founders. Our CTO pulled up the presentation behind us. Today, Neural Thread Incorporated is proud to announce a partnership with Johns Hopkins Hospital. A $50 million contract to implement our AI diagnostic platform across their medical network. This technology will improve early detection for pancreatic cancer, lung disease, and neurological conditions, diseases often undiagnosed until it's too late. Cameras flashed. Journalists typed. One raised her hand. "Miss Townsend, how does it feel to see your work recognized on this scale?" I thought about the 3 years protecting this algorithm. About the family that tried to take it. About the night I sat alone while they celebrated without me. "It feels like justice," I said. "Not revenge. Justice." Another journalist asked, "Your valuation has nearly doubled since IPO. You're now worth an estimated $4 billion. Does that vindicate your decision to go public with your family story?" I didn't go public for vindication. I did it because staying silent was costing me my integrity. The success, the money, the partnerships, that's not why I spoke. But it proves something. What's that? That the people who told me my work didn't matter were wrong. That I was right to protect it. And right to believe in it when no one else did. After the press conference, my co-founders opened champagne. "To Nora," one said, raising a glass, "who refused to disappear." We clinked glasses. I looked around at my team, people who saw my work, valued my voice, never made me feel too much or not enough. This, I thought, was what I had been fighting for. December 31st, 2025. New Year's Eve. 1 year after the night that changed everything. I was in my San Francisco apartment, but not alone. My team crowded my living room. 10 of us sharing takeout, arguing about the best sci-fi movies. At 11:30 p.m. my phone buzzed. Dr. Martinez. Video calling from Boston. I stepped into my bedroom and answered. "Nora," she said, smiling. "How are you?" "Good," I said. "Really good. I'm so proud of you." I looked around my apartment, warm, full of life, full of people who chose me. And for the first time I knew it was true. "Everything you've accomplished," I said. "I couldn't have done it without you." "Yes, you could have," Dr. Martinez replied. "But I'm glad I got to be part of it." She paused. "Have you heard from your family?" My dad texted earlier, I said. Happy New Year, sweetheart. I love you. He's visiting in February. We're having dinner. Just the two of us. And Ryan? Nothing. I don't expect to. And your mother? Nothing. I looked out at the city lights. I don't think she'll ever reach out. And I'm okay with that. Are you really? Yeah. I spent my whole life waiting for her approval. I don't need it anymore. We said our goodbyes. I returned to the living room just as the countdown began on TV. 10, 9, 8. My team joined in shouting and laughing. 3, 2, 1. Fireworks exploded outside. Someone opened another bottle of champagne. I stood at the window, glass in hand, and thought about last year. Sitting alone in Cambridge. Watching strangers celebrate. Feeling invisible. I wasn't invisible anymore. I opened my laptop, pulled up a blank document, and began typing. 1 year ago, I was alone on New Year's Eve. Tonight, I'm surrounded by people who see me, not the version they wanted, but the version I am. Healing didn't mean reconciliation. It meant accepting that I deserved better and building a life that reflected that. I posted it on LinkedIn. Within minutes, comments poured in. Thank you for showing us what boundaries look like. You changed my life this year. I'm not alone anymore because of you. I smiled, closed the laptop, and rejoined my team. This was my family now, the one I chose. So if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. A lot of people ask me, do you regret it? Was it worth losing your family? Here's the truth, that I didn't lose my family. They lost me when they chose reputation over relationship. When they decided my work didn't matter. When they tried to erase me instead of celebrate me. And yes, it was worth it. Because the alternative was disappearing. I spent 29 years trying to fit into a frame never built for me. Trying to be quieter. Smaller. Less. Trying to make others comfortable at the cost of my own existence. I'm done with that. You don't owe anyone, not even family, the right to erase you. If you're sitting on work you're afraid to claim, document it. Protect it. File the patents. Save the emails. Record the meetings. Build a paper trail that speaks for itself. If you're being told you're too much or not enough, find people who see you. They're out there. Promise. And if you ever have to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your integrity, choose integrity. Every single time. Because your voice matters. Your work matters. And you deserve to exist fully, loudly, unapologetically. This is my story. What's yours? If this story meant something to you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Check the description for resources on intellectual property protection, setting boundaries with family, and finding support when you need it most. And if you have a story about standing up, speaking out, refusing to shrink, leave it in the comments. I read every one. Thank you for being here. See you in the next one.